Well, like any war, there are the occasional intense bursts of activity, but most of the time the foot soldiers here just sit around and wait. They are, of course, waiting for news, and that news comes from just one source, the voice of NATO, Jamie Shea, but he's running late. So, in the meantime, I get a tour of the press room from Turkish correspondent Nazlı Ertan.
This is more or less the British constituency. The BBC has not changed places ever since he sat down. The radios are basically over here. CNN has its own base over there with their own computer, which is a rarity here. And in the far end of the room is what we call the Balkanic Peninsula. Most of the Greeks, some of the Albanian journalists are always there.
Jamie's turned up for the 11 a.m. off-camera briefing, and we're not even allowed to film his arrival.
Off-camera in the morning. I know that. But you can't film it then. That's what off-camera means. In there, it's off-camera. No. The morning's off-camera. We won't bring him down here then. And you can tell your correspondent.
We're being told off by Jonathan Prince. He's one of President Clinton's speechwriters, drafted in as part of a team of behind-the-scenes spin doctors.
Somebody walking in, surely. It's just not fair.
You see them sort of hovering on the edges of the press conferences here. They didn't try to steal the limelight from Jamie Shea. They fed him a lot of information, and I think they also have tried on occasion to sort of define the line of the day.
And indeed, here is the New York Times correspondent after the 11 a.m. briefing getting some extra White House spin. Meanwhile, outside, the BBC's defence correspondent is preparing to do his 802nd live appearance since the war began. So was he worried about being seen as a NATO mouthpiece?
NATO is more truthful than the Serbs. So if you're asked your opinion about whether something is factually accurate, then NATO is factually accurate most of the time. So that makes it even harder to distinguish yourself from NATO.
A couple of final questions for
Beamed around the world by satellite TV, the crucial 3 p.m. briefing is where the spin doctors hope to get their message across. As usual, Jamie's armed with a pithy quote.
And I always like to quote from Frederick the Great, my mentor here. You know, he said, "Diplomacy without arms is like music without instruments." Jake.
While the journalists, with their customised screensavers, digest and send out NATO's latest message, Jamie is back in his office.
Every day they do a kind of summary, and so it's just a way of testing if the message has got across or not.
NATO's reaction has been that it supports this diplomatic initiative.
Matthew, thank you.
Okay, sorry for that.
Right.
No, I think today we got it over. That's good. You're visiting me on one of the better days, hopefully.
It's not always that easy, because no matter how good the spin, journalists are notorious for not doing what they're told. But believe him or not, there's no doubt that the NATO spokesman, born in Hackney, has become a star, pursued even by autograph hunters. And when it's all said and done, it's been a good war for Jamie Shea.
Don't laugh.